Hey guys, welcome back to the show. The last episode was really incredible. We had an insane finale for the first part of this episode and everything was in turmoil. We proved that there was someone else in the omnibus where the victim was murdered, and now we have a recess and trying to recollect ourselves. We are in the antechamber, in the defendant's antechamber. Let's just get rolling. 18th February, 12:52 p.m., the Old Bailey defendant's antechamber. What on earth just happened in there? Mr. Naruhodo, I've managed to find out what happened. Mr. Sato, I was told it was an advanced form of smoke grenade, a type of exploding device that releases smoke. A smoke grenade? It sounds like the sort of thing ninjas use. They're just making sure everything is safe now. I think the trial will start again before long. But who would have done something like that? The police managed to catch someone who was trying to flee the courtroom, apparently. Flee the courtroom? Why? Well, it's a young girl of around 15, I hear. A young girl? Then could it be the other passenger that Mr. McGilded was just talking about? My thoughts exactly. So he wasn't lying. Oh, what's become of Mr. McGilded, actually? There are so many things I need to ask him about, but he's not here. I think he was summoned to the prosecutor's antechamber to answer questions, along with the young girl. Who is she, I wonder? And what was she even doing here at the trial? She was taking a huge risk, and for what possible benefit to herself? There's another matter that's troubling me. What's that? The 20 pence. According to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 4 passengers that night at a fare of 5 pence each. That comes to a total of 20 pence exactly. But now it seems there were in fact 5 passengers, which means the figures don't seem to add up again. She's right. That is strange. Counsel for the defense, kindly proceed into the courtroom. The trial will recommence in 5 minutes. Oh, thank you, officer. We'll go in straight away. Well, whoever she is, I imagine this young girl will be asked to take the stand and testify now. I really can't imagine what she's going to say, but it could alter the whole direction of the trial. We'll know soon enough, Miss Susato. Yes. Okay, who is she? 18th February, 1 p.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. Oh, there she is. Okay. What's going on here? There's the young girl next to Mr. McGilded. Look. She must have been the one who caused the disturbance before. Well, after the rather eventful recess, the court will now resume the trial of Mr. Magnus McGilded. Now then, Lord Van Zeeks. My lord? I believe you have established the cause of smoke which veiled proceedings earlier. It seems to have been an advanced form of smoke grenade, of the sort typically employed by the army. Good gracious, the army! What in the devil's name? It was an elaborate attempt by a young girl to cloak her escape from the public gallery, but she was caught. And now occupies the stand. Your name, girl? Are you responsible for the smoke grenade which induced such pandemonium here in my courtroom? What is the meaning of this deplorable behavior?
If I may, my lord?
Yes, Mr. McGilded?
I think perhaps I ought to explain here why it is that this wee lass was here in the first place, and why she tried to bolt like that. It's all tied up with the events of that night, so it is.
Very well, Mr. McGilded. Give your testimony. You will explain to the court exactly how this young woman is involved in the case.
Just what did happen that night? It's not like a defense lawyer needs that information or anything.
Witness testimony. Alright, Mr. McGilded. Tell us, the young girl.
On the night in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off. Then, hurrah! A loud thud and a wee scream woke me up with a fair start. There was a fella collapsed on the floor at me feet, so I sat him up on the seat across from me. Then I turned to find out where that scream had come from. And bless my soul, what did I find? There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away.
Uh-huh. I remain somewhat baffled, I confess. But from what I gather, on the night in question, this young girl was indeed riding in the omnibus. Is that correct?
'Tis exactly as the defense counsel said. 'Tis lass was the fifth passenger, my lord.
Very well. The defense may now cross-examine the witnesses. Are you ready, counsel?
Yes, my lord.
Or rather, no? I have no idea where to start.
On the night in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off.
Okay, let's go. Let's press him. Let's just press him. And when you first got onto the omnibus, were there any other passengers already on board?
There were not. The cabin was empty and there was no one on the roof deck either.
You were the first passenger, as it were. I see.
Aye, and that's why I took the backside as I did. 'Tis the most comfortable, so it is.
Could you explain exactly what you mean by the back seat?
By all means, 'tis how you already described it earlier. I'm talking about the seat opposite the one in which the poor gentleman who was stabbed was sitting. Like I said, 'tis the most comfortable, and where I feel most at ease. And of course, I enjoy gazing through the skylight from time to time as well. Then the cry, loud thud, and a wee scream woke me up with a fair start.
Hold it! A loud thud, you say? And a scream?
Aye, that's right. How can I explain it? It was like the sound of someone falling to the ground. That sort of noise.
So you think it was the sound of Mr. Mason falling to the floor having been stabbed?
Well now, you'll remember I was asleep at the time, so I wouldn't like to say. And when the sound woke me up and I opened my eyes, there wasn't a soul to be seen in the carriage but the fella on the floor.
You didn't see anyone. But at the same moment you did hear a scream? Ah, from the seats above you on the roof deck, I presume.
Not above me, no, my lord. It was from inside the cabin. But I wasn't altogether thinking about the scream. No, I was too stunned by the desperate sight before my eyes. There was a fella collapsed on the floor at my feet, so I set him up on the seat across from me.
Hold it! You set him up? The victim, you mean?
That I did. On the seat across from me, as I said. I could plainly see the poor devil was already gone. And you wouldn't leave dead men just lying on the floor now, would you? 'Tis common courtesy, so 'tis.
I find that a little hard to believe.
Ah, Lord von Zeeks! Now why would that be?
You wake to find a man lying dead at your feet in a carriage. Any normal person would hail the cabman. Any upstanding member of London society, that is.
Well now, as you know, I'm in something of a special line of business.
business of lending money to exorbitant rates of interest?
Unfortunately, my lord, not everyone is thankful for the help I offer them, and some would even see me dead. So I do try where at all possible to avoid getting myself entangled with trouble.
Are you suggesting you were just going to leave the man there?
Heavens alive, no! I was always intending to report it, so I was. Only I had a mind to find out what the whys and wherefores first.
The whys and wherefores?
Right you are. There were some details I wanted to understand before anyone else got to meddling. That wee scream I heard, for example. Wouldn't your good self do just the same?
Yes, the scream he says he heard at the same time as the thud of the victim collapsing.
Then, I tried to find out where that scream had come from. And bless my soul, what did I find?
Hold it! I'm afraid I don't understand. I'm sure you told the court there was no one else in the carriage except yourself and the victim.
So I did, sir, so I did. As far as I could see, that is.
What do you mean by that?
Well, now, it is a queer thing. The wee scream I heard as I wake up. It came from, if you'll excuse the vulgar expression, under me backside.
Good gracious! Under your backside?
And when I lifted the seat on which I'd been sitting, I found there was a wee cubbyhole there for storage.
Mr. Naruto, we can examine the omnibus ourselves, remember?
Yes, of course. The whole bus was submitted as evidence. Yeah, we already looked there, though.
This would be a very good time to have a thorough look around inside.
And that's when I found her.
Alright, before I press, I'm going to... okay, we can't... Can we present? Okay, we can present. Can we also just... examine it once again? We can, apparently. So let's just go in there. Yeah, we already... Yeah, we know. We already went there. And there is actually a spill of blood that I overlooked last time. We're gonna check that out first. That's blood, isn't it?
Is something wrong? Oh, it's just, well, this bloodstain is so obvious, that's all.
And yet, when Zeeks has made no mention of it.
I suppose that does seem a little strange.
Why do I have such a bad feeling about this? Okay, alright. Okay, I'll have to use the keyboard to turn around, and the seat has a handle, it seems. And now it's empty. Beforehand, it wasn't. This is a storage compartment, but there's nothing in here. It's totally empty. Something doesn't seem right here, but I can't put my finger on what it is. Okay, so we already checked that. No passengers inside.
Alright, there was a child in there all curled up in a ball hiding a wee self away.
Hold it! You say she was hiding herself?
Aye, that's right. It was hard to see in the dim lamplight, but she was all curled up in a wee ball. When our eyes met, well, my heart nearly stopped beating in my chest.
You're really overacting this.
Still in all, I pulled her out from under there and sat her on the seat opposite so I could have a wee chin wag with her.
The seat opposite?
That's right, just next to the dead gentleman there.
You said this young girl next to a corpse, sir.
Well, as I'm sure I mentioned, a gentleman in my position can all too often find himself in mortal danger. So, I needed to find out just who this urchin was, you see. And while I was in the middle of talking with her, I heard another scream. A fella's voice this time.
Presumably, that scream was Mr. First, who was sitting on the roof deck seats.
Right here again, I would say, sir. Looking down through the skylight, he must have seen this young girl and the gentleman with a knife in his belly.
other words, the previous witnesses did not, in fact, see you at all, Mr. McGilvin. What they believed to be yourself and the victim was, in fact, this girl and the late Mr. Mason.
Aye, my lord. As I think everyone understands now, sat at the back of the carriage, out of sight.
It is certainly plausible. The defendant is somewhat diminutive in stature, and readily confused, perhaps, with his young girl.
After that, of course, with a scream from the gentleman over us, the driver realized something was wrong and pulled up the horses.
Thank you, I've heard enough. The events as explained are clear in my mind. However, at least one conundrum remains. Who is this girl?
Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. She's a chancer, earns her crust among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. What's commonly called a pickpocket.
What? This girl here? A petty thief? Order, order. Is this true, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade, you will answer the question. Oh, how dare you? What is the meaning of this? Oh, the girl, she's gone.
Open your eyes. I'm over here.
Good gracious, how? What was the point in that little sidestep?
I know what your lot are thinking. Grown-ups are all the same. This dirty little dipper, you'll say, slipped up and got caught on the job. She's got herself back into a corner, so she knifed the gin. Go on, that's what's in your heads, ain't it?
No, not at all. This is a court of law. We're here to determine the truth, not...
Look, knives are for cowards. Only thugs use weapons like that. All I need for what I do is these fingers. I'm a professional, alright? Maybe not in your eyes, but I got pride in what I do.
I got pride in what I do. Okay, I have to figure out a voice for her. Let me guess, you don't count smoke guns among weapons for thugs.
Oh, this? Yeah, this was a bag. I lifted it the other day. Down here, they keep the
Four-wheel drags.
It's nice, isn't it? I like the pink best.
Do away that thing in my direction again. So, you admit that you were riding the omnibus on the night in question?
Tis alright, lass. You can tell them the truth now.
Alright, yeah. I just like the Irishman said.
The court accepts this girl, Miss Gina Lestrade, as a valid and significant witness in this case. Accordingly, young lady, we will now hear your testimony, if you please. You will tell the court exactly what happened in the omnibus in the night in question.
Alright, if I have to.
What the girl saw?
So I snuck inside the...
I have to figure out the voice. Sorry, guys. So
I snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up the horses, just like always. But it was a right old waste of time. Got nothing to show for me troubles that night. I'll tell ya, you can't see a blind thing in that hiding place. It's pitch in there. Then, after a while, I hit this loud bang. Nearly jumped out my skin, I did, and the scream just came out. It's because of that the swell found me. It did help me get away, man.
yes, he let you go. I fail to understand why you would let this street urchin go, Mr. McGilded.
Oh, 'tis simplicity itself, my lord. You see, she couldn't possibly have killed the other passenger. I knew that for a fact.
How?
As I'm sure I said before, sir. I was sitting right on top of the place where she was hiding herself. I think a
demonstration is called for.
This is where I was set that night. And the cubbyhole of which you have
spoken is underneath the seat, I presume. Yes. This appeared just large enough to accommodate someone of the girl's stature.
Aye, but of course, the wee lass was stuck in there. Because I'd parked myself on the seat for the duration.
Oh.
So you see, that's why I let the lass bolt. I knew that if the police found her there, they'd automatically assume she'd done it. But I couldn't live with myself. A young life was ruined when all the time I knew she was innocent.
Even though you must have realized your action would result in your own innocence being called into question.
Not at all, my lord. Not at all. I knew in my own heart that I was innocent. So I thought it was worth taking a punt on my own good name for the sake of this less fortunate lass.
My goodness!
What a perfect gentleman.
My lord, this fine example of a man cannot possibly be guilty of a heinous crime like this. I'm ashamed of myself for ever doubting you, sir. Well, that's very good for us.
But it's kind of fishy. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time.
Did we win? Saints alive! All 6 members of the jury consensual in their leaning to a verdict of not guilty?
Mr. Naruto, it must mean what?
It must mean what?
That we're victorious!
We've won? Are you sure?
Objection!
If the sight of my iron-heeled Wellington offends, pray do forgive the discourtesy. This really is a consummate example of the one monumental flaw in British judicial practices, where evidence and reasoning should be paramount. Emotion rules the day. Emotion? The witness's latest statement gives us a clear insight into his true nature. What do you mean, his true nature? Do you really think Scotland Yard would have made such a glaring omission? After the incident, the omnibus was comprehensively searched by officers of the police. Obviously, the interior of this cubbyhole, as the witness put it, was included in their investigation. The compartment under the posterior seat was full of the coachman's belongings. It's noted in black and white here in the police report. Good Lord! The evidence has been tampered with. In order to corroborate Mr. McGilded's story, someone has unlawfully removed everything from under the seat.
That is true. When we first checked, there were things there, and now there aren't anymore.
What? Order! Order! How could such a devious contrivance possibly have been effected, counsel? Naturally, We must acknowledge the defiances of the constabulary in allowing this to have happened. However, I assure you, when the omnibus was wheeled into the courtroom this morning, the compartment under the seat was not empty. That is true, we can corroborate that. Well, my Nipponese friend...
Me?
When the carriage was submitted as evidence, doubtless you examined it in fine detail as would any self-respecting practitioner of the law. Pray, what did you find the condition of the underseat compartment to be?
Oh, to be sure. The young gentleman will be able to clear this up in a jiffy.
Sorry?
Go ahead, you tell the court now, fella. How this is all an elaborate excuse by the desperate Lord Van Ziegs.
No, we're not gonna lie. Well, counsel, do you have something to say on this matter?
How am I supposed to answer? What can I say about the state of that little compartment under the seat in the omnibus?
We did look, and it wasn't empty. So I'm going with it wasn't empty.
I really don't know if giving this answer is helping my cause as counsel for the defense.
But as far as I remember, at least,
when I first examined the compartment, I'm fairly certain there were a number of articles inside it. Yes.
oh, are you sure, counsel?
Bewist? What are you saying now, you deaf dog? I thought you were on my side here.
What game are you playing? Your task is to defend the man in the stand. Why would you say something to compromise his position?
As the advocate for the defense in this trial, I confess I'm still not entirely sure where I stand. But it seems to me that I should state what facts I do know as clearly and honestly as possible.
Interesting.
'Tis not altogether pleasing, fella.
I'm simply telling the truth, Mr. McGilded.
Well, don't forget that you're supposed to be representing my best interests here, lad. Now then. A fella's memory is a curious thing and not altogether reliable. No, the court must consider the facts. That there cubbyhole under the seat is as empty as the devil's heart, so it is. Do you think perhaps it would be in your best interest now that you might have been mistaken?
Why do I feel like something's not right here? I should like the jury to weigh in on this matter, I think.
That compartment is designed to house equipment used to maintain the smooth running of the carriage. The guild rules that omnibuses should be properly and fully equipped at all times. So it certainly shouldn't have been empty on the night in question. Beppo isn't that irresponsible. That money-lending fleecer and the picked purse are lying.
But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. We're not going to lie ourselves through court.
I can't believe I was nearly taken in. The stinking rich are always stinkers. Nothing but cowards, a lot of them.
What? Oh no!
It's a trick, of course, it's a trick. Quite so. I must concur here. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time.
Yes, but every time a different truth, it seems.
My lord, I humbly exhibit the scales of justice. Clearly, a verdict of not guilty at this time would be wholly inappropriate. Thank you, counsel. But before we proceed any further, there is the matter of the outstanding cross-examination. Counsel for the defense, begin your questioning of the witness, please. Yes, my lord. What just happened? The whole balance of the trial just shifted almost beyond recognition. The Reaper of the Bailey is at work, it would seem. But I'm sorry guys, we've reached the half-hour mark. And this is the end of this episode of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. If you want to see how the cross-examination is going to go with these two people, you'll have to tune in next time.